Okay, and welcome back to Fast Jet Performance, back end of 2016, the last of one of these vlog things I'm doing. Now, I was going to answer a load of questions, but I figured I could do that next year. So what I'm going to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so, however long this takes, is things that I'm looking to change for myself in 2017. They're not New Year's resolutions as such, and I don't really want them to be. They're just things I've been thinking about for a while. Some of them I've been doing already, but I'm hoping these things I'm going to do are going to be making some kind of tangible change within my life so that when I'm here in a year's time, I can turn around and go, whoa, these things made a bit of a change to me. I feel better for it, okay? And I'm further along in doing whatever it is I want to do. So we've got wall here, we've got wall here, and we'll hopefully put some stuff up there. There's 7 of these things that I've kind of looked at and I've been doing for the last month or so. On a laptop here as well, I've made a few points. Hopefully I'll be able to, I don't know, embellish them. Maybe just put a bit more kind of thought into these kind of things here and speak to you about what they are. So, what am I doing then for 2017? Interesting really, because as an ex-bomber pilot, obviously I'm still flying, teaching on the jet and everything. I haven't done that for a while, but I'm actually back in the weight now. I know a lot of you guys know I tripped out of that weight limit for the ejection seat. Back in that weight zone, hopefully going back up to the squadron to fly early in the new year. Now, I'm a bomber pilot, so what I do is I do a lot of planning, and this has caused me issues, I feel, over the last couple of years. What I think's happened really is I put too much emphasis into safeguards, into plan Bs and everything else. And what's happened is I've kind of stifled things that I really want to do. There are things I really want to get on with that I just haven't really done, because it's like, I don't know, buying something, isn't it? Where you get on Amazon and you deep dive on Google and you really try and find the best one for you. And if you took all that time and you got rid of all that analytics, well, you'd have that thing a lot earlier and you could go on and you could use it a lot earlier as well and actually create something for yourself. So, what am I looking at then? What I'm looking at really is stopping that planning, and I'm looking at doing one word, and that word is execute. So as opposed to me thinking of millions of different things or eventualities, I'm looking to dive straight in there and just start doing it. And this will tie into another one of my points. As I said, one of the 7 things I'm looking at doing into 2017 that I think will be quite useful for you to maybe think about as well. And I know that I'm going to benefit hopefully from all of these. As I said, I've already started doing them. So for me, I'm going to execute. I'm going to think about what I need to be doing. I'm going to get on and do it. I'm going to start messing up a little bit and just trying things a little bit new. And you guys are going to laugh at me, and all the guys in the squadron will as well. And that's great. That's great, because what I love is the negative comments in the post as well. And you know I do as well. Am I recording this? Yes, I am. There's me diving in without even checking that I'm actually recording this, but I am. I love that negativity to a certain extent. Not that I love the negativity, I love the negative comments because it makes me better. Does that make sense? It makes me look at that. What were they saying in the post before? It was saying I need to reduce this distance here, head to top of camera distance. I need to smile more, as I'm doing. I need to slow down my speech. So by doing those 3 things, by seeing those 3 things in the comments, I'm starting to do that. So stop planning, execute. That's something I'm looking at. It's something that top performers do, in fact. It's a way of getting us out of that analysis paralysis, especially with men. We do this a lot. Women are a lot better than it. Men aren't that great. We do it a lot. I'm going to start maybe building some online courses, maybe write an ebook. I think I'm going to do that. I've got a lot of material for that right now about how to enhance your performance. I was chatting to a guy over the weekend. I get a lot of military guys speaking to me now, especially on email. I've got a lot of time for that really. The mentorship program, which we should have in the military, we don't tend to. But guys have been phoning me up, writing to me, especially guys that are about to do different courses out there where they really need to be at the top of their game. How do they excel? That's what I've been speaking to them about really, about little things they can tweak just to enhance their performance. So I'm going to try and put that into some kind of ebook that you can just have on your Kindle, have on your phone, read on the train, that kind of stuff. That'd be great. I want to do that this year. I want to get in, just write that. It's going to be a bit kind of rough around the edges, whatever. Get it out, do it, and then I'll refine it, all right? That's what people do with their products, isn't it? They get that phone out, they refine it. What else? Good. That's the kind of thing I'm looking at, really. So that's the first one then. On the wall here, boom. That's what we're going to say. It's stop planning and execute. Stop planning, execute. That's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in 2017. What's the second one then? I've tried to group these in together, really, to make it a bit simpler for all of us to understand. And if you to put me in a room and say, what are those 7 things, Tim? I probably couldn't list them all off, all right? I probably couldn't. But I'm trying to make sure that I've got that right mentality. And I'll talk about that a bit later, all right? That achiever mentality, that driver for success, right? What's the second one then? So I've got down here authenticity, all right? Now, it's more than just being open, honest, transparent. It's more than just that, really. And I've written some stuff down here because something happened recently and I want to talk to you a little bit about it because it's a bit divisive. So what I'm trying to do is if people say, hey, do you want to come to dinner? And you think, I'm kind of busy, I've got something going on, I'd love to. But as opposed to accepting it and sitting there all night thinking, I really need to be doing this thing, just turn around and saying, I'm really sorry, I've got this other thing on. Let's reschedule this, all right? That's what being a bit authentic, being a bit honest with people, not worrying about what people are going to think of you. Here's the thing. If you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks drop first, they always tell you to put on your mask first. Now, why do they tell you to do that? It's because you're no use to anyone unless you've taken care of yourself first. We know this already. We know this. It's one of those things. Put the mask on first. So this is about looking after yourself before other people. Being honest, being authentic, being open, transparent, being just a really great person that people can come to and they know they're going to get what they want to get, basically. They're going to come to you and they're going to ask you a question and you're not going to lie to them. You're not going to tell them what they want to hear. You're just going to be really open with them. And being known for that as well. Okay, and I think I'm not too bad at that already, but maybe, I know I haven't spoken to you about crashing my drone yet. I need to talk to you about that. I'll probably do that in the next post. If I don't speak to you about crashing my drone, then you guys are going to go and crash your drones or whatever, and I feel bad for you. So let's be honest, let's be open. And that's some other things in here as well. So one of the things I've got down here, the main one that I was going to talk to you about is recognizing that others' problems aren't mine to solve. And this is because recently something happened where one of my buddies got himself in a bit of trouble. He'd gone down one line with the business and everything, and he needs some money to bail him out. We knew when he was doing this, we kind of said to him, this is a bit risky. And he was like, yeah, it is risky, but he went and did it anyway. And that's cool. I've got a lot of time for that, the execution, get and do it. But now, that risk hasn't really paid off. And, I'm looking at, I've been giving him a bit of cash to hook him up and stuff. But my wife's been like, well, he knew that risk. I'm like, yeah, I get that. So I'm trying to be a bit more open and recognizing the fact that I can't solve the world's problems. I can't keep trying to give a guy some cash hoping that's going to make him better. He's not going to learn from that. So what would be better for me to do probably was to say, listen, I can give him a time. I just can't, give you some money so you can go and do that thing again. It's a difficult one. It's difficult. I'm being open about it. I'm talking it through with him and stuff. But I need to recognize for my own peace of mind that I just can't solve the world. All right, not today. I can do it, but not today. And with the authenticity, the last one I've just written down here as well with that is looking after yourself is a really important one. We go back to the oxygen mask thing. So my wife's kind of into this hugger thing, and what she does pretty much is it's the big jumpers, the big coffees, big teas, all that kind of stuff. There's 2 things you can do, of course. You can take that average paid job that has a nice chilled stress levels through the week and the weekend, or you can do what I tend to do and my wife does, where we burn ourselves out during the week, and then at the weekend we go and have some chill time, whatever, maybe go and use a nice hotel pool, that kind of stuff. All right, take time for yourself, really important. Authenticity, that's one that we can run in the background. That's a subroutine, all right? The third one then I'll talk about, and this is, again, aligned with the first one, really, where I'm talking about execution. It's the ability to fail more, I think, is what I want to embrace. Again, getting out there, not being embarrassed to trip up. I know people on this will say, hey, Tim, your jumper's the same color as your background. Totally got that. Totally got that. This is why Michael Jackson used to wear white plasters on his hands. He used to wear white socks when he was dancing so people could see. If you look at some of these performers on stage today, they come out, black background, fully in black. Come on, you paid for a concert, I can't even see the performer. But yeah, I don't think my jumper in the background, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I know someone's going to tell me that this is the wrong thing to do. They probably say as well, I should dye my hair, whatever, and that's definitely one I probably should do. Colour it in with a fine black or something. But the truth is, I need to be able to fail more. I need to get out there, work out what I'm doing wrong in order to change it and make it right. And if I did this early, then the product is better in the end. I write an ebook, it's a bit rough around the edges. People criticize, I can refine that ebook into a better product. I can do that, but I can't do it unless I know. So I need to get out there, I need to fail more in many aspects of my life. And that comes again to that first one, execution, doesn't it? Execution, authenticity, fail more as well is up there. All right, that makes sense. Try new things, be bad at stuff, gain experience through it, either through doing things like this vlog, that kind of stuff. I know people will be critical of that, and that's fine. It's fine. You just got to have a bit more of a thick skin. Believe me, when you work on a fast jet squadron with some tigers, you do get a thick skin actually. Right, whatever. Like I care about those guys. I do, they're so cute. Right, what else? This is the fourth one, and this one is really probably the most important, but I put it here because it kind of relates to the next three. So this, if you look at these first three here, can you see the side of the screen here? Look at these first three. This one, for me, is in the middle for a reason, and then the next three complement that middle one. All right? So this next one really is, and I've written down here, try to be better than the day before. You've got to start thinking about that. Be better than the day before. What does that even mean? How am I better than the day before? Well, if you did 40 press-ups, maybe try and do 45, or maybe just use better form with the press-ups or whatever, Or if you didn't see that lady who lives next door and she's a bit lonely because she's old and it's cold, maybe go and see her or something. Try and do something that when you go to bed, you think, I am developing, I am achieving, I am furthering myself, and I'm getting better at something. Remember, we're trying to turn into something here that people look at and they go, that guy's got it squared away. That guy's awesome. He's really investing in himself. That's the thing. That's what you've got to be looking at when I say, let's try and be better than the day before. So every day, are you moving forward? And that's what you've got to ask yourself. And you don't have to wait until you go to bed. It's a bit late then. You can just, as you're going to work, whatever, just say, how am I going to be better today than I was yesterday? How am I going to be more authentic? Am I failing more? This is this kind of thing that I'm thinking of. I'm not saying anyone out there to go and do these things, right? This is what I'm thinking of, okay? So I've got down here, this might be diet. It might be your drinking behavior. It might be the fact you might need to meditate or something, or you might think about meditating. So have a read of some blogs, this kind of stuff, and maybe pick up a few things and think, I'm going to give that a try. It's hopefully going to make me a better person and maybe develop me in maybe a spiritual, emotional, whichever kind of way you want to be going, okay? But this is what I'm doing. Anyway, I think that's kind of important, I'm looking forward to some aspects of this as well, of thinking, okay, how am I going to really be better today? What am I going to do? All right, I like that. I like the kind of mental gymnastics of it all. All right, so that's going to go in the middle, and then the next three for me, these are mine. You've got your own. The next three here are going to complement that middle one. I feel like a weather lady. The sun will come in and whatever, or a weather man, of course. On this middle one, then the next one, and this is something that exceptionally successful people do, is I'm going to develop a morning routine. Now, some of my pilots had a morning routine. I never really did have a morning routine, and I think it's very hard when you fly any aircraft to have a morning routine, because your day starts at different times, and it's not pleasant when one morning you're in Met for like 6:30. This is morning briefing time, and then the next day you're in like for 8:05, and then it's like 7:30, and you're like, oh. Especially if you have kids, then that can be a real big issue as well, can't it? Because they have routines as well. If you can give yourself a morning routine, that's a really good thing. And there's a guy out there that you can read. If you read one of his books, it's Jocko Willink. I'll put the title up here on our other screen, of course, there. You can have a read of some of his books. He has, and go and listen to his podcast, he has a very structured morning routine that starts at about 4:30 in the morning, and he is an ex-US Navy SEAL. He gets up, he does some lifting, he does some meditation, does some writing, that kind of stuff. And it's the same thing every day, because he says those hours are his hours. No one can take those. No boss is going to phone you up at 4 in the morning. I don't know where you work, but that's not going to happen to me. But bosses do phone me up in the evening sometimes, or at the weekends. And we understand why that is, because you work in those industries that are quite dynamic, and that's a necessity of it. So maybe think about getting a morning routine that's really structured, and when you go to bed at night, everything's set out. That's what I'm trying to do, is I wake up and I do these things. And yeah, it'll probably be a bit of writing for me, a bit of reading maybe. I'm not into meditation as such. I've tried it. It doesn't really kind of work for me in that respect, especially when you've just been asleep. You get up, you meditate. Fine, it doesn't really work, but I'll probably do some fitness in that time as well. Stretch out, plan my day ahead, all that kind of good stuff. Probably not going to get up at 4 in the morning, but think about those wasted hours in the evening. The hours between 10 and 12. What are you really doing? I mean, why not have those hours at 5 to 7 or so. But me, I'm having a look at it. I'm going to play with it. I'll let you know how it goes. In fact, if you want to read a book by Tim Ferriss, it's called Tools of Titan, it's called Tools of Titans, sorry. The Tactics, Routines and Habits of Billionaires, Icons and World-Class Performers. Tim Ferriss, he hacks his own body, he works out stuff, a bit of a kind of guru on self-help. But this book is a very interesting one, and it talks in there about, I'll put a link up somewhere, it talks about morning routines of really successful people. They're successful for a reason. It's because they're investing more time in being successful. It makes sense, doesn't it? If they're awake before you, yeah, they're obviously doing more than you are. I want to be one of those guys that gets up earlier and maybe goes to bed a bit earlier as well. Maybe shift that whole day a little bit. So, because I just waste those hours in the evening. All right, so that was morning routine. 2 left for me personally. This one's quite a big one now. This is avoiding negativity. Oh, it's hard. And I can be negative too sometimes. I'm not talking about sort of the manking you get on a naval warship, whatever it might be, when you're in the field and it's raining on you and you've got to clean your weapon, that kind of stuff, and you've got to do all your drills, whatever it might be, or in your office and it's just another meeting to go to and you're like, kill me now, this sucks. That negativity, I get that. That kind of binds people together, it kind of bonds people. It's like, we're together here. What I'm talking about is that disparaging guy, the guy, everything's wrong. I'm just talking about trying to avoid that person, not join in with that really. Just try and look at the positives if you can. Try and turn my back on that a little bit. Label it as such. That is negativity. Label it as negativity. I don't want to go there. It's going to drag me down. I'm not that kind of guy anymore. I want to be positive. Future, I want to do that stuff. Outlook. Brilliant. So, got down here, there's one technique I read about where you wear an elastic band on your wrist, whatever, and when you make a negative comment during the day, you swap that elastic band to this wrist, and it's like, you're like, I really want to go the whole day with elastic band on my wrist here. And try that, and you'll be surprised how quickly that band moves from that wrist to that wrist, how negative you are. Just within 10 minutes, you're like, this is awful. The idea being is to get through a whole day with just positive comments only with an elastic band or a hairband or whatever you want to do. For those guys and girls wearing hairbands, just leave it on your wrist if you can by being positive as the day goes on. So I want to embrace that. If I can. However, I like your negative comments at the post because it pushes me to do better. And as I said to my wife, I'm not going to achieve anything unless you get people that hate you, because not everyone is going to like everything you're doing, and that's great. I'm not expecting that at all. I don't expect that. But I know there's a bunch of guys out there, a bunch of girls, that we all want to do the same thing. We all want to just drive ourselves forward to be the best we can be. How do we do that? Well, we do the failing, we do the investing, we do everything else we can do to get better, and that's where I am, and that's what I teach my guys and everything, and what I teach myself. So, that was avoiding negativity. It's a very positive thing. If you can do that, you'll see a bit of a life change. I've been doing this for quite a while now. The last one then really is, I had to answer quite a lengthy email over the weekend. And one of the things I wrote back to this guy was about investing in himself financially. Okay. It's interesting really. I get quite a lot of emails from guys in the military currently and guys in business as well. One of the guys was trying to get ahead. He's in business. He couldn't do it. He didn't know what was going on. I said, look, you're probably investing. You're probably doing the same thing as everyone else. If you're doing the same thing as everyone else, you're going to get the same results as everyone else. So you need to step your game up and do something different. And what does that mean? That probably doesn't mean going on the internet and just researching the same materials. It probably means going on the internet and actually paying for something. Shock horror. The snowflake generation, younger guys and girls, I've got a story for you. Everyone's got access to that same information. If you want to be different, you've got to be different, all right? Obviously, get off Facebook, do that as well. That Facebook is not where you want to be to change the world, but what you need to be doing, in my opinion, humbly, is investing financially in your future. Now, some of these things that you can be doing don't cost much money. I take courses, for example, on Udemy. Udemy is a course online. Some of those courses are like £8. And they've got like 50 lectures, and you can learn like Wing Chun Kung Fu, or you can learn how to drum or play piano. I mean, £8, we can all afford £8 to better ourselves. Some of those courses are more expensive. Some of the programming courses, for example, some are cheap, some are better. All I'm saying is you can probably hunt around or and find stuff on YouTube and everything else, or you can just pay £8, get a dedicated course, and because you paid the money, here's a surreal thing, you're more likely to do it, right? Because you paid the big money. So So all I'm trying to say is if you can invest in yourself financially, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. All right. So put that one up there. Pow! Up there. Invest in yourself financially if you can. So using a bit of money. Really, and I'm going to wrap these up now because we've been recording for 20 minutes. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And hopefully in the new year, we'll answer some more questions, maybe get some flying videos up there and stuff if I can convince the new station commander. He's not going to watch this, is he, at all? Either way, when I wrap these 7 things up for myself, what I'm actually trying to do here, and I've written it down in a sentence because I really want to get this correct, is in a year's time, I'm trying to visualize that person that I want to be. So I'm looking at it going, who do I want to be in a year's time? And every day when I wake up, I'm driving hard towards that. And by driving towards that, what that really means is if I kind of miss it by a little bit, well, actually, I've come pretty close. And if I wasn't aiming for that at all, then I wouldn't be very close and I wouldn't be that person that I wanted to be. So that's the thing. But the truth is, you've actually got to sit down and think about who you want to be. And so I had a long thought over Christmas, a long thinking time about, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What is this picture that you see now? What does this look like in a year's time? Is it still me stood in front of a camera? Is it me writing blogs? Or is it me maybe doing something else? Is it me like with a couple of books out, whatever? Have I got an audio course out? Have I got a podcast where I don't just relay my posts that I've written, 4,000 word posts and I read them out? Is it maybe a podcast where I'm interviewing some other people and stuff? Because there's some stuff I want to do about that. In the new year, for example, I'm going to talk about mental health and aviation. And I've got some guys in airlines and other aspects that I'm going to talk to that about because it's something that people don't normally talk about. So there's areas I want to get into, I want to deep dive into. And that's what I'm saying. So in a year's time, what do I look like? I know what I want to look like. Less grey hair, etc. Thank you for that. But how do I get there? These 7 things, hopefully here, that's going to drive me towards that. Don't want to take up your time. Really appreciate it. Anyway, those are mine. These are mine here. Okay, this is what I'm doing here. So these are mine. You don't have to do those. Hopefully you got something from it. Yeah, I still speak quickly. Tony Robbins says he speaks fast because he's passionate about what he does. Well, maybe I'm passionate about it too. All right. Have a good New Year's, guys. Take care. Tim Davies.